right. All right, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live here at Taylor Chiropractic. And tonight we are billed as a back to school webinar. I'm not sure where this is going to go. I haven't been on live in quite a while, and I know everyone's back to school. Got a lot going on out there. It's been a weird week already. Today's only Wednesday, but yesterday was like a weird Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday thing going on. Nobody knew what day of the week it was. Even today, people were coming in the office and are like, what day is today? And I'm like, it's Wednesday afternoon. And I just kind of knew that because I kind of had to know it. So there's a lot going on out there. And so I just wanted to jump on tonight and just talk a little bit about back to school stress, what that may be looking like for the family and the different families. I've had several in over the last couple weeks now that school's back in full mode, and just kind of what does that build up look like as we're going through the process. And some of you are going to recognize it. You saw it last year, you saw it the year before. So none of this is new to any of us, but it's what do we want to do about it? We want to recognize it and then do something about it. At least that's what I want to do, right? And so before we get into some of that, I wanted to talk a little bit, I'm going to talk a little bit about me, because last week, towards the end of the week, I got really, really run down. I was just really run down last week. And, I don't know about y'all, but I'm the type of person that burns a candle at three ends, right? There's just no stopping sometimes. My foot is on my foot is on the gas, and I'm go, and I've got the practice and the patients, and I've got my family, and then I have other projects that I'm working on. So there's all this stuff going on, and I don't know when to quit, right? I'll just put my head down and go until my body tells me I have to quit. And so what happened last week was I just started not feeling really well. I really wasn't up to par. The only energy I had was to give to my patients, which is awesome, but I didn't have any energy for like anywhere else. I even ran a small fever last week. I just didn't feel well, like I said. Sleep was kind of off as well. Although I would sleep, I wasn't rested. So all of these things started coming into play, and finally I got to Friday, and usually on Friday afternoons I do some volunteer work, and I finished my shift here at the office on Friday morning, and I was like, I'm done. I pulled the plug, and it needed to be done because I just didn't have anything to give. Where I go on Friday afternoons, I try to pour myself into the folks that I go and I work with, just like I try to pour myself 100% into my patients here at the office, and try to just give. But sometimes we just don't have any more to give, and I just didn't have any more to give. So I pulled the plug. I went home. I made some food, healthy food. Made some healthy food choices. I stopped at the store on the way home. I cooked. I walked my dogs. I just got outside in the sun. I relaxed, basically. I took a little nap, not a big one, kind of a short nap, actually. I did some light cleaning. Again, nothing heavy or anything, but just enough to kind of get that ball rolling and feeling like I was doing some stuff for myself in my home. I actually went to the gym on Friday afternoon, so I've been trying to get back in the gym, trying to go really regular and be really consistent with my time there, because consistency is the key. Just like with all of this stuff, you guys, consistency is the key. And I just kind of let that roll through the weekend. I actually got sucked into a Netflix show over the weekend, so I watched some of that. I got my workouts in. I spent some time with friends, which was really awesome. So I just did my very best to pour back into myself, but I was able to see it, right? I was able to feel it. And, by the time I'm kind of running a fever and not feeling well, there's something going on. And what's interesting about it, you guys, is there's nothing wrong with me, right? I'm not really sick. A couple other things that happened was I got some acne. My face broke out. I'm way too old for that. I shouldn't be having any acne. I got a little fever blister right there, right? You know, so it was just my body was just telling me that, hey, it's time to slow down. It's time to slow down. My foot was so hard on that gas pedal. Well, I was so far into sympathetic mode that I was having trouble functioning, and that was the spot that I got to. And you guys have seen this before, right? You've seen it if you've been to my talks. You've seen it if you've heard me speak before. And I just talk about, you know, this gas versus brake pedal. I always go backwards because I get confused on these things. So this is where most of us spend our time, is right over here. Look at this. We are way on the other side here. We just have our foot so far on the gas that we can't, and we get stuck on stress. And we just go, go, go. And this is when we get sick, like what happened with me last week. This is when we get irritable. This is when we start to spin. I had some spinning, like on Saturday, I had some spinning. I had a few things to get done, and I was kind of spinning around it all. And I'm like, do I go here? Do I go there? What do I do? For kiddos, this is when they'll get that cough, an ear infection will come on. They'll spin. Their behavior starts to go, you know, in the red. Maybe the teachers start reporting, you know, lack of focus, and that's what's happening. Is because we're all just burning, and it builds over time as we move through the school year, as activities get piled on and parties get piled on. And man, we got the holidays right around the corner. I know I don't even want to say that stuff out loud, but that's happening, and it's coming. And this is when our kiddos get sick, and like I said, and some of these other symptoms come on for these issues. And it's because we're way over here, right? And we're so far on this side that when something does come up, then we can't handle it, right? So we might get a little sick, and then we get sicker than we should. Or if you're a kiddo in the classroom, something tips that scale. You're already running in this red section over here. You're already running in this red, and then something comes along, and that shouldn't be a big deal, but now all of a sudden it's a big deal, right? And then if we look here, if we're on the gas pedal, this is our sympathetic dis-ease cycle. You guys can't see that now, sorry. Our sympathetic dis-ease cycle over here, right? And this is when we have misalignment and fixation occurs in the spine. So not only are we out of alignment, but that alignment gets stuck. That's our stuck on stress. Our stress response and our adrenal glands are activated, and for us, they get turned on, and then they stay on, because we're always in this heightened state. We're always in this heightened state, and this is what we see with folks, right? And our central nervous system gets stuck in fight or flight. Again, that's just that really overactive sympathetic mode, and it just tips the scales. What's interesting about it is there's a lot of ways, y'all, to pull our foot off that gas pedal, like I was saying. So for me, I got some downtime. I poured back into me. I did reading. Like I said, I watched a little Netflix. I took naps. I got a lot of sleep. You know, sleep is one of the most underrated recovery tools that are out there. Whether you're a regular exerciser, whether you're a mom, you know, whether you're a dad that's driving into town, and mom's driving into town too. I'm not saying that, but you know, you have some sort of job where you're going into town all the time, and you got to sit in all that traffic, and you're trying to work out and go to soccer practice and do all these things. And like I said, it's just on top of it, on top, on top, on top. And sleep is one of the most underrated things that we can use to recover from this stuff, and it's super important. And then when we're over here again, when we're over here in this red section, right, we don't sleep. Our brain just churns and churns and churns and churns and churns and churns, and that's where we get into trouble. And what's interesting about this too, like I was saying, is there's nothing wrong with us, right? There's nothing wrong with these kids. There's no blood test you can do. There's nothing that you can do that says, yes, there's something wrong with this child, or yes, there was something wrong with Dr. Thea last week. There was nothing wrong with me. If I'd have gone to the doctor, they would have been like, well, yeah, you have a few symptoms. They might even throw some antibiotics at me. It's really hard to say, right? Which I didn't need them. I didn't need any antibiotics, right? I just was run down. I was just so run down. So I had to pull the plug. And so that's what we need to do sometimes. We need to pull that plug. And it's interesting that even, you know, with a 3-day weekend and stuff, and coming off the weekend, everyone, well, I should say almost everyone that's been in my office already, because I worked half a day on Monday. I worked Monday morning, and then I worked my half day today. I worked all afternoon, saw awesome patients all afternoon. It was great. But everyone is a little bit, you know, confused. Like I said, they don't know what day it is. They're like, is it Tuesday? Is it Monday? Is it Wednesday? What's going on? And so we're just all a little bit out there right now. There's 3 things that cause stress: trauma, toxins, and thoughts. So 3 things, these are the basic 3 things: trauma or physical stress, toxins or chemical stress, and thoughts or emotional stress. And these are the 3 things that build on us, and they play together. They're all wound together pretty tightly, but that's what causes the bulk of issues. Actually, there is no other things that cause any issues in us, right? And with the little kids that we see in the office, the little babies, C-section plays a huge, huge role in this. And I'm not dissing C-sections. C-sections are awesome. They save a ton of babies. They save a ton of mamas, and they're super important. But the thing that we need to realize is that when a baby is brought into this world via C-section, there is over 70 pounds of pressure put on that little baby's neck. 70 pounds. Think about going to the gym and picking up a 70-pound dumbbell and what that feels like on your arm. That's the amount of stress and traction that they're using to get the baby out, right? And also there's some twisting and side motion that's put in there. So there's a ton of pressure that's put in there. And these are things that a lot of people don't realize. And that's not just pulling on their neck, that's pulling on their spinal cord, their brain stem. Everything is getting nudged. Everything is getting pulled when we do that. Well, when the OBs do that. So there's a lot going on there. So those little guys and girls are starting in this world in the sympathetic mode due to trauma, right? They're starting over here due to the trauma. So that's the first thing. And then toxins, depending on what's going on, depending on whether mom's breastfeeding, what's mom eating, are they having formula? So what's going on in all of these areas, right? And then emotional stuff will come later. Maybe they're struggling with behavior. Maybe they're struggling to just control their emotions, right? Like maybe they just don't quite have control of them. They don't quite know what to do with them. They get upset very easily, like I said, again, right? When we're over here in the sympathetic mode and something comes along and upsets us in some way, it tips the scales and we just can't recover. You know, there's the big hurricane right now. Hurricane Dorian is sweeping up the East Coast right now. This time 2 years ago, Hurricane Harvey hit Rockport and then drowned Houston. And what we saw 2 years ago with Harvey was you had people that were already in this stressed out mode, and then their houses got destroyed. And then there was mold in their house. So they had a lot of stuff going on, right? They had a lot of traumas going on, toxic and emotional traumas, and they were already on the edge. So now they tipped the scale, right? And there's still people coming in that still haven't recovered. I had a new gal come in, a couple of weeks ago, and I started talking to her, kind of digging deep about what was going on. And she started to tell me how they had just now gotten back in their house after Hurricane Harvey. 2 years later, she's been carrying all this stuff around. And she's like, I don't understand why I have all this stuff going on. Da, 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 da. I'm like, it's the stress. You've been so stressed out, and it's building. And she had some other stuff going on. And so this stuff is important. And having it taken care of is super important. So when we do the really specific chiropractic adjustments, right, because we use the scanner, and we can scan your spine, and we can see what's happening. I think everyone should get scanned, so just get scanned. That's something we like to say around here, right? Let's see what's going on in your nervous system. Let's see what's going on in your spine so that we can deal with it. And over here, When we start doing that, we actually can put on the brake pedal, right? And we can pull the needle back. And then we don't have to be stuck on stress. We should be in stress mode about 10% of the day, and we should be in parasympathetic or down-regulated 90% of the day. That's really how it should go. But in our culture and the way we're living today, it's actually opposite, okay? So we put on the brake pedal. This is our parasympathetic or our wellness cycle. This is where we get well, right? This is where our body starts to function better and get, because we are in better alignment, right? A chiropractic adjustment corrects the subluxation. Remember that subluxation, it's a big chiropractic word. Subluxation is stuck on stress, right? This is where we get rest, relaxation, digestion, and immune function support, right? I had a little girl come in today, 3rd, 4th grade, can't remember. She's already sick. She's got a little cough, you know, stuff like that. She's all congested. She came in today for her regular adjustment. Again, boost that immune system, get everything going, get everything moving so that we can keep her on the mark, right? And then growth, healing, and development are restored. So we can't be in growth and protection at the same time. That's a great quote that I like to use a lot, is that you can't be in growth and protection at the same time. So we can't be growing and learning and becoming better people and doing things like that when we're always in that stressed out mode. Our nervous system just won't let us. So again, finding ways to bring that needle back so that you can be the healthiest in this new school year. Ways to do that, there's a lot of them. Like I was saying earlier, sleep. Sleep is huge. Getting on a regular sleep schedule. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. Super, super important, okay? That will solve so many problems. I've often said, because some of you know I used to own a gym, and I've worked with some really high-end athletes, some people that have gone on to lift and compete and do different things in you know, national and international competitions. And you can take somebody and they can be eating the best food, they can be doing the best workout, they can have the best relationships, they can have everything lined out perfectly, but if they're not sleeping, it will wreck everything. Sleep is hugely important, so they need to get it. And again, if you're over here, if you're in sympathetic mode, you're not going to sleep well, right? You're just not. So getting sleep, huge. Good food. Food could be considered a toxin or a chemical stress. And what a lot of us are eating today is so not good for us. So if we're filling ourselves up with sugary, heavy carbs, lots and lots of caffeine in the morning, and getting to the point where we're here, that's no good. If kids are going to school and eating honey buns and junk, no good. Toxic. Their behavior is not going to be good, right? So food. So sleep and food are two of the biggies. And exercise. You know, it's funny, they have kids exercise classes out there, right? CrossFit Kids and all that. And that's great. I think it's awesome to get these kids moving. I think it's awesome to have cross training for them because they may play football or they may play basketball or they may play soccer. So getting them some cross training is amazing. It's going to make them better athletes. But the fact that we have to have kids exercise classes because they're not exercising enough or they're not moving enough, go outside and play. It's free. Climb a tree, run around the block, do all these things. Take the dog for a walk. Get some sun on us, right? Super, super important stuff. When I was a kid, I think that one of the only things that saved me when I was a kid was that I got to go outside and I got to run wild, right? If you had taken the kid I was and put them in the classrooms of today, I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it. I was the kid that was spinning. I couldn't read, had such a hard time. And I think part of what saved me in a behavioral sense was the fact that I had the opportunity to run and play and be outside and make up stories and, you know, play with my friends and throw rocks and do all that stuff. And kids today just don't have that opportunity. So getting kiddos outside as much as possible in nature, in the sunshine. Sunshine won't hurt us. just don't get sunburned every day, right? The sun is super important for us. So getting outside and doing all those things. So we've got sleep, food, exercise, movement, right? Sunshine. So all of these things are super important, just so that we can get through the school year. And I'd even say, you know, pull the plug from time to time. If you feel like you're doing too much, if the kiddos are getting sick, if you've got stuff going on, stuff's cropping up at school, grades, behavior, whatever it is, it's time. It's time to pull the plug, take a weekend off, let the family relax, go for a walk, take some naps, read some books, play with friends, do all this kind of stuff. Let our kids be kids. Let our families be families. It's such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful process. If anything you've heard tonight has, you know, piqued your interest, of course I'm going to suggest chiropractic, right? Because like I said, you know, there's a lot that can be done through chiropractic care. We can pull the gas pedal back, right? Get our foot on the brake, take our time, slow down, get the parasympathetic nervous system to kick in, and we can go from there. All right. In 2 weeks, on the, I believe it's the 18th, I'm going to be doing a live talk here at 1322 Space Park Drive. You can find it in our Facebook event, and there's also an Eventbrite. It's $10. But we will be diving even deeper than we did today, and we're just going to dig deep on what's going on in the nervous system, why things are going crazy, why there's really nothing wrong with our kiddos, and we'll work out from there and see what we have going on. And I hope that y'all have a great night. I really appreciate everybody being on here and taking a listen, and I hope this is helpful. And if you feel yourself, you know, burning the candle at too many ends, then, you know, pull the plug, take care of yourself, pour back into you so that you can be there for other people. All right? Have a great Wednesday night, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace out.